Hello, this is Richard from ANAO Solutions technical team, and in this video I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks around setting display preferences as a user in Windchill. So we're just going to do this as a live demonstration, and here you'll see I'm just looking at my workspace view, and in my table I've got a set of toolbar action icons across the top here. It's not very obvious what those say, so a lot of users don't or aren't aware that we have a preference that allows us to show descriptions for these toolbar actions. So if you follow the link to your user preferences, under display you'll see that there's one called toolbar action descriptions. So if I set this preference to yes, you can see it's being set for me as an individual user, and when I set that to OK, if I now return to my workspace view, you'll see that I now have some descriptions underneath each of the icons. So certainly for new users, or pretty much any user, that's a lot easier to kind of see what's going on in toolbar in the workspace, and can really help. Other display options are things like recently visited list size, that determines the number of objects shown in that drop down list. The recently visited context can be really useful as well. If you're looking at lots of different contexts all the time, you can change that number. So there are a few different preferences that can help you set up how the system is displayed for you. One other area that can be really useful is under attribute handling. So if your system is set up with some metadata or attributes that have got real numbers in units, and maybe you're a user in the United States or you've got users in the US, you might want to be able to switch between different measurement systems, and you can do that here. The other thing that can be useful is the local time zone setting. So here it's set to GMT. So if I go and look at a drawing that I've been recently looking at, you'll see under the last modified date that it's showing a time that's really within British Summer Time, but it's showing as GMT, and that's because of that setting in that preference. If I change this local time zone setting to actually be one that includes British Summer Time, so England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, once I've set that, I go back and look at my drawing again, you'll see that it's now displaying a more common view of British Summer Time. So again, for users who are in other time zones, it might be useful to set that individually. Some users might not be aware that on your home page you can also do some setting up of how this is displayed using the customise button here. So you'll see that a few tables are ticked here, but maybe I'm often looking at reports or things like packages if I'm working with suppliers and exporting data regularly. But maybe I think that the updates table is the most important, and I want that to be at the top, so I can reorder these tables just by dragging things around. Maybe checked out work is the one that I want to have second. And of course you might be aware that these table views can be set as well if you want to see different ones. You notice here I've got private and public as well. As an administrator, I can set up these table views for all the users using the public view here. So there'll be a default which users can then override if private if they want to. So just to remember that also all of those preferences that I was setting as a user can also be set by the administrators at a higher level. So some of them can be locked, but there are a few like those ones we were just showing, particularly with time zones and so on, which are going to be individual to users, so users should be aware of how to set those themselves. So hopefully that's a useful tips and tricks video. If you want any more information on those kind of things or want to talk to us more about Windchill, then by all means get in touch. Thank you very much.